Hello everybody, my name is Megan and welcome to my 5th Flosstube video. I've been gone for a little bit longer than I would have liked. It's been super busy. I believe since I was here last we've had Mother's Day, and then I worked a weekend, and then we had Memorial Day. So all of that is of course a little bit crazy. And then we were all sick. I caught a cold from one of my coworkers, and then unfortunately I spread it to my household. And actually, speaking of work, I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody for all of the well wishes and kind words about the stress that I talked about in my last video. I've been doing some things on my end to try to better handle that. I've been making sure I'm doing things that are keeping me happy. I've been trying to listen to a Grateful Dead show every day because that makes me very happy. I've been taking vitamins. I've been trying to make sure I'm drinking enough water and trying to get a little bit more sleep. So I think that's helping a little bit. I also had a review on Friday where I really got to talk about the problems that I was having, and I think we've come up with some solutions to help ease some of that. So my fingers are crossed that things in the next few weeks will be getting a lot better. Other than all that, we've been pretty good. Quentin's been great, you know, normal teenage stuff, wanting to hang out with his friends all the time. I think he's getting pretty pumped up. We've got about 2 weeks left of school, and I think we are all looking forward to him being on summer vacation. It takes kind of, you know, some of the pressure off of all of us. Aaron's been good, other than me getting him so sick. Normal busy stuff. He did make me some frames last weekend, which I will be showing you shortly. The weather has definitely changed here in Maryland. It's definitely been warm, and the humidity is already setting in, and we're kind of at that stage of the year where we're getting thunderstorms most days. I think we're supposed to get a big one this afternoon, so hopefully I can get this done by the time that happens. I do have the window open in here. It is pretty hot in this room, so you might hear a little bit of yard sounds or traffic sounds, so please excuse those. And speaking of the yard, we've been doing some work out there. I've been working in my herb garden. I used to buy lots of plants every year and put them everywhere, and then I just am not good at keeping up with them. So I didn't do that this year. I mainly just maintain an herb garden, and I have some perennials that come up, and that's about it. My rosemary and my thyme unfortunately did not survive the winter, which was surprising because they've definitely survived much harsher winters than this, but I replanted those. My lavender is struggling a little bit, but I'm thinking that's going to come back okay. The black-eyed Susans have all come up. We're not close to any blooms there yet, but they've all come up nicely and filled in. The last of the peonies are out there. The Japanese lilacs are all blooming this week, which is amazing. Because this is an old house, there's a lot of landscaping here that was established before we ever came along. The one Japanese lilac that is outside of this window here, I'm on the second story, and from where I'm sitting, it's taller than my eye level. It's absolutely huge. And then we call it a gazebo, but it's actually like a small pavilion on the property, and they completely surround that pavilion on 3 sides. They're probably 20 feet tall and 40 feet long, and so everything smells just fantastic. It's so nice. So it's kind of a little bit what's been going on with us. I brought all of the crafts for you today. I brought sewing, I brought some crochet, I brought some embroidery, I've got whips, I've got new starts, I've got some haul, I've got some stitchy kindness, and I've got FFOs. So this might be a slightly longer video than what I normally do, and we should probably get right into it, huh? Let me just move my notes. I've not worked on my quilt. Like I just said, this room is very hot. It's hot to even try to iron in here, even with the windows open. And I can't keep the windows open all the time because, so there's part of a roof line that goes here, and there's a little balcony outside of this window, and our outside cat, Dingus, likes to spend her time either on the roof right there or up on the balcony, and if my cats come in, it's a fight, it's a whole thing. So I don't keep them open very often. So I haven't worked on that, but I have been making these bags. This is my 5th one that I've made. I use them as reusable grocery bags. This is what we take grocery shopping. So I've made 4 for us and 1 for my aunt, and they're super fun. And I like them because it gives me a chance to practice like my piecing and sewing straight lines, which is something I'm not always good at. And they're pretty easy to make as well. I've got some stuff over here to get another one started soon. I've been doing some crochet. When I was feeling very, very sick, stitching was definitely challenging. My head was not right. So I did a little bit of crochet. I made this little mason jar cover for my hooks. I don't know if you can see, there's little holes that you put your hooks in. So I thought that was pretty cute, and it got them out of all the little plastic sleeves that I had up there. So I made that. And then I had some of this sugar and cream scrub off yarn. You see I've used about half of it up. And I made a little dish scrubby, a little hole to go over the handle of the faucet. Here's, you can kind of see the scrubby part, which is kind of challenging actually to crochet with. You can't really see where your holes are, so you have to just kind of feel and hope for the best. I mean, it's a dishcloth. Who's going to care if you miss a stitch or something? But that was just something fun, kind of mindless to do. I can't just like sit on the couch, my hands have to be doing something. So this is one of those things that got me through not feeling so great. I also put a couple more rows into my shawl, which I remembered to bring up. The pattern is called Dragon Belly by Miho Miho Crochet, and you can find that on Ravelry. And here's where it is. It's getting pretty big, getting close to the halfway point on this. It's pretty easy to do. Here, you can kind of see the texture of it. It's 1 row of double crochets and then a 2nd row of front post double crochets with a chain stitch in between. So it's pretty easy, pretty mindless. Usually by this time in the year I'm over crocheted because, again, heat and no air conditioning in this old house. But I really like to have this done for the fall, so I'm trying to continue to work on it a little bit. Alright, so that's the crochet. Now I'll show you my embroidery. If you'll remember, I'm part of the Cozy Blue Stitch Club, so every month I get a new pattern from her. Cat hair. And it comes with all of the threads you need. And this is the one from 2 months ago. And I don't give it a whole lot of attention, but I do enjoy it an awful lot. We've got satin stitches and French knots and lazy daisies and backstitch, and this is a reverse chain stitch, which I really enjoyed learning. So I just have this side over here to finish, just the green and the yellow and the blue. I already did the pink and the dark pink. So that's been good. And speaking of embroidery, that brings me to a little bit of stitchy kindness. My sweet friend Crystal, hey Crystal, she's the Jeweled Antler on Instagram, and she also has an Etsy store where she makes beautiful scissor fobs. I brought mine here, the Jeweled Antler Co. Look at that, little cameo. It's absolutely gorgeous and incredibly well made. She's on there as well, where she sells those. She sent me 2 books from the Royal School of Needlework. She sent me crewel work, and she sent me black work. And there is so much information in these, and they are super inspiring. Great stitch diagrams, just absolutely stunning. I have no ambition to do any crewel work necessarily, but I do think that I'll be able to use a lot of the things in here to help me with my just embroidery in general. So thank you again so much, Crystal. I love them so much. I just sat down and just read them. They're absolutely wonderful. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, one other little thing before I get into my stitching. When I got home on Friday, I don't know why, but I thought maybe I should learn how to knit. I don't know. So I watched a video on YouTube, and I came up here, and I have this whole thing full of my mom's knitting needles. There's tons of them in there. And I grabbed some needles and I grabbed scrappy yarn and I just started trying to do it. It's not great. Got a hole in it right there. I don't know if you can see it. But it's something different, and I don't know. I don't see why not. Why shouldn't I learn that? I don't think I have enough hobbies as of yet. But I'm just going to mess around with it and see if I enjoy it. The one thing though is that I guess from crocheting for so long, I'm having a hard time like figuring out how to hold the yarn and get tension. The little video that I watched suggested that crocheters hold the yarn in their left hand, but when I did that I was trying to move the needle like a hook, so I don't know. It's just something different, something to play around with, see if I enjoy. Alright, I think we are on to the stitching. I have worked on my 2 oldest whips and had a few new starts, so I'm going to share those next. The first thing that I worked on since I was last with you was 99 Bottles by Ink Circles. As I said in my first video, this piece does not ever call to me. I don't know why. I don't really enjoy working on it. Normally, kind of fiddly things don't really bother me, but for some reason this one is just, it's a struggle. But I did manage to get another row done. Hopefully you can see that. So I got row number 4 done, and then I just started on row number 5 and I was like, that's it, no more. Just left the thread hanging and everything. This I started back in 2017 and I would very much like to have it done this year, but I just have to figure out a way to actually make myself do it. I don't know, some kind of motivation there. After that, I made a new start. I wanted another piece that I could take with me to stitchy events or retreats, where I could kind of have everything outlined, so all I would have to do really is fill in and not have to think too hard while doing so. So I started Scrub Pine Sampler from Barrick Samplers, and that's what it's supposed to look like. I had all of the called for DMC pulled, but for some reason the colors just kind of weren't there for me. So what I did is I went through all my overdyes and just kind of picked my own colors, things that were similar, but actually lightened it up a little bit. So there's some Victoria Mottos here, there's some Color and Cottons, there's Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, all kinds of pretty light, springy colors, if you will. And I am stitching this on Color and Cotton, 32 count sampler gold, and here's what I got. It's a little washed out. As you can see, I changed the bluebirds to be little cardinals. That house is going to be quite a lot to fill in, but I'm very happy with how this is turning out. I love this fabric. I love this fabric color. I'd been saving it for something special, and for me, this is special. So that's how far we got there. This will definitely be going to New Jersey with me. I think we're at less than 2 months now, so getting super excited about that. The next thing that I worked on was actually my oldest whip. It's the Mother and Child detail of the 3 Stages of Woman, inspired by Gustav Klimt's painting, and my only full coverage. And here it is. And I was working right through here. Normally when I work on this piece, I like to work a whole section all the way over. And this time I didn't have it in me. I got, I would say maybe 1,200 stitches put in before I just kind of burnt out. So that's what I added down there. So little baby's got a face, start of a hand. This next section here is pretty much just 2 colors, so it will go pretty quickly when I get to it. This is another one that I'd really like to have done this year. So hopefully I'll get the motivation to work on that one too. Alright, after that I was thinking about kind of some series that I have or things that have companion pieces that I would like to have done, kind of like I did My Lady's Quaker earlier in this year to go with the Quaker Gentleman that I finished last year. Speaking of which, Lily at 42 Stitches has just started the Quaker Gentleman, and she's doing it 1/1 on 28 count, and it is so dainty and it is so pretty, and you guys should definitely go check that out because it's going to be absolutely stunning. But another one that I have is this Prairie Schooler, As the Crow Flies, and I finished the little one last year, so I wanted to start on the bigger one. Oops, excuse me. I still have a little bit of a cough lingering from being sick. And I'm stitching this on a 28 count, and the color says Dusty Miller, but I don't know who it's by. And this is where I got to. Pretty stiff fabric, pretty see-through. Excuse me, as well. But pretty good start on that. I worked on this over Memorial Day weekend, and I'm really enjoying it. Prairie Schoolers are always, I think, pretty fun and pretty easy to stitch. Box color, a little bit of back stitch on this one, but nothing too crazy. So hopefully I'll get back to that one soon as well. And my last new start is a little bit of gift stitching that I wanted to start working on, and that is Stacy Nash Primitives Summer Pomegranate Needlebook and Pin Keep, which will look like this, or is supposed to, should I say, look like this. You can see the back of the pin keep there. Stitch that as well. And I kind of hemmed and hawed over whether I wanted to get this fabric, and then what flosses I wanted to get, and I was like kind of starting to overthink it, and I was like, Megan, what are you doing? You've got plenty of stuff. Just pick something that you have. So I did. I went with 36 count Dusk by Color and Cotton. I believe this was last month's fabric of the month. And because I didn't have any of the threads, I went with Spinach, Bing Cherry, which I'm kind of obsessed with, and Poblano Pepper. And super loving these colors on this fabric. And this is where I got to so far. It's stitching up super quickly. I just started it on Thursday night, and I didn't stitch it all last night. We had a friend over for crabs and a little bonfire, and that's where I am. I'm almost done with the pomegranate. I just have to fill in the rest of the red there, and then I'll start the back of it on this side. What do you guys think? I think it looks awesome on this fabric. Alright, so that's what I've been stitching on. Now I'll get to what's arrived in my mailbox. My Color and Cotton Floss of the Month came. The light's getting a little weird. Rosebud, Peruvian Butterfly, that's a really pretty blue. Seahorse. And these two, they look similar. As you can see, that one's a little bit lighter. Dusty Blue. And Gunmetal. And I really like that Gunmetal. It's kind of blue, dark blue, purpley kind of colors. So all of those came in, as did my Victorian mottos. And we have Bitter Chocolate, Dried Purple Buds, I like that, kind of purpley brown color, Cameo and Roses, Harvested Flax, Antique Rose number 2, and Brass Throne. I really like this one a lot. Brass Throne. So as always, very pretty. In my last video, I did a little giveaway for a couple of her flosses, and this morning I did the random number generator, and Catty Sue Cats is the winner of those. I will comment on your comment. I'm a little behind on comments. I'm hoping to remedy that today. But I will comment on your comment, and you can give me your address, and I'll get these out in the mail to you. So congratulations. I did have some more threads come my way. Mandy, who is Allie Youngblood on Instagram, was doing a destashing. She's got some things going on, and she was getting rid of some of her stuff, and she was destashing most of her overdyed threads. So I contacted her and I said, you know, I'd like to help out and support you and your family, so how about I buy all of the reds and all of the greens that you have. Let me know what you have and I will take all of those. So she had this package so nicely, and I just threw it all back in here like an animal. I'm not going to take them all out, but I have a little bag here with all of her reds and all of her greens. She's such a super, super, super nice lady. She sent a little card and a tacky bob as a little thank you. There's that. Then, let's see. Teresa, Kitten Stitcher, had a silk sale on her website. This is a few weeks ago, I guess now. And I'm always on the hunt for the perfect red, hence why I offered to buy all of her reds. That has eluded me, the perfect red. But I did get 2 Silken Colors reds from her. Super pretty. In the reds. This one's a little bit brighter. And in the burgundy. So I don't know. I don't think that the camera's picking it up quite as pretty as it is, but that one's beautiful. Of course, she sent along her little cards, which I always love. And I also picked up 2 charts from her. I got the Jenny Bean Spring, Gentle Spring sampler, because I've done the Christmas sampler and I've done the Halloween sampler, so I thought maybe this year I'll do the spring sampler. And I also picked up Nellie Low Broadway, sampler. And I actually picked it up because my grandmother's name was Nellie. So I think I'll probably change that, the name, and put her name on that as well. So super happy with those. Then Lori at Not Forgotten Farm put out a new pattern, and I was immediately enamored. I think you guys all know that I love her work. Like I said, probably my favorite designer. And this picture is not so easy to see, but it's called My Threads Are Cut, and it says, "My threads are cut, my work is done." And I love it. I don't know why that saying is, I don't know, this speaks to me, and I love it. So I got that. I kind of went on a little Not Forgotten Farm kick. You'll see a couple more after these. I also picked up her Salem piece, which I've liked for quite some time, as well as Plant Ye Seeds, which looks like this. It says, "Plant ye seeds all in a row, one to rot, one to grow, one for me, one for the crow." I actually have quite a few patterns that say this. I've got clearly one for the crow, maybe 2 or 3 other ones with that same saying. I don't know why that appeals to me so much either, but it definitely does. So I grabbed those from her. I did a little bit of me pleasing on Stash Unloading. I got these 3 Falling Star primitive patterns. They're like schoolgirl patterns. So Nettie's Best Work, it says, this is my sampler and my best work in the 11th year of my age." That one. Maddie's sampler, Maddie's best work in the 7th year of her age. And then Schoolgirl Stitches. There's 4 patterns in here. I really like the one that Sissy Kendall's. I marked my sampler the best I could. I like all these little, very primitive schoolgirl stitches. So I picked up those. Another Not Forgotten Farm, Cross-Eyed Cat, Eye of Newt, Wing of Bat, 13 Whiskers from a Cross-Eyed Cat. And I picked up 2 Blackbird charts, Fair Daffodil, which I'd never seen before, but I just recently caught up with Michelle the Striped Rose, and she had this one too. So it's awesome. And then this one, called Mother's Honor Due. It says, with my needle, I sew our names to give my mother her honor due. And we are coming up on June the 11th, the 3rd anniversary of my mother passing away. And I think I might, if I'm feeling strong enough, start this one then. I also picked up a piece of fabric, 40 count Zweigart from XU in Witch's Brew. Just like this. Smells delicious, as always. Her fabrics always smell so good. And lastly, I put in an order with Bush Mountain Stitchery, and I got 3 things from her. I got this heartstring samplery, Gather Ye Tulips. It says, gather ye tulips while ye may. And I don't know, this just, it looks really bizarre, and I think that's why I like it so much. Like, the lady's face is kind of funny, and this deer is definitely strange, and I think it's got so much charm, and I just absolutely love it. Another Not Forgotten Farm, Counting Crows. 1 crow's sorrow, 2 crow's joy, 3 crows a girl, 4 crows a boy, 5 crows silver, 6 crows gold, 7 crows a secret, never to be told. Looks like that. So as you can see, I definitely got my Not Forgotten Farm fix. And the last thing I got is something that's a little out of the ordinary for me. I've never done a biscornu, or in this case a biscore nest, but it's from the Crosswing collection, and it's the Cardinal Biscore Nest. Looks like that. That little feather, it got me. They got me. I couldn't resist. I love it. So that was quite a bit of haul, but it's been a while, right? So it's totally cool. All right. Now it's time for the FFOs. I've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? 10 here? Is that right? Aaron made all the frames except for one, so what he does is he cuts the foam core and he builds the frame, whatever he wants to do. I don't give him really any direction. And then I stain them or paint them or do whatever I want, and I do all the stretching. And they're all pretty much done. I haven't gotten the paper on the back of them yet, or the hangers. I've got 7 more frames downstairs that I've just started pinning the work so that I can then sand them and get them stained. So maybe over this next week I'll be able to work on those some. He uses a lot of reclaimed wood. He, as I mentioned before, he's a carpenter. And so if they finish a job and they've replaced a floor, he'll take the old hardwood flooring that would go in the dumpster. Or the first time he made me frames, he had finished a job where they used a ton of cherry wood, and his boss was like, take it or we're gonna burn it, like whatever. And so he collects scraps of wood and things like that from different jobs and then makes me frames. So I'm super excited to show you these. I feel like I mostly just show you unfinished things, so this is wonderful. I'm going to start with the one he did not make, and I'll try to remember the names of all of the patterns, but I might not. We'll see. And here's this one. Look at it. I love it. I love this one so much. This was a Riolas kit. Excuse me. It was stitched, I think this is an 11 count black Aida. And this just, it's supposed to be my cat bud, but it really looks like his cat. And this is like a thing you would put a plate in. It's plastic, but I did have to sand it down, and then I painted it. And I think it looks awesome. I love this one so much. I don't remember what the name of that one was, or if it even actually had a name. This next one is just a little one. I didn't bring any of the patterns, I don't think, except for this one because I had changed this one. This was Little House Needleworks Hill House. And it said a little house on a hill, and this is what it looked like. The pattern looked like. But I wanted it to look like our house because we have a house on a hill. I stitched this on 32 count Haunted Belfast. Did I finish this? 2017, I think. Oops. Power mode. And so I changed it to be like our house. And this is what it looks like. I did the grass in Vineyard Silk. I did a 10 stitch so it would look kind of like rough and bumbly, kind of like our grass always does, and our meadow is definitely wild. And then I changed the sheep to tombstones because we live next door to a cemetery. Graceview is the name of our property. And I changed all the flowers to look like inkberries because we can't fight the inkberries. They come no matter what we do. So I wanted to stitch this as, you know, just so we always could remember our time living here together in our little house. All right, this next one, I couldn't find the pattern, and I don't remember the name of the pattern. Something about a raven, maybe a 1692 raven, I'm not sure. I think you guys have probably seen this one before. I finished this one back in 2017, I think, as well, maybe? Started in 2017, I know that. Can't remember when I finished it. This is stitched on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, and this was my first time, I think, using silk. This is a dinky dye, and I don't know if the camera's gonna capture it, but it's actually like a blue-black, and I love this one. I know I've mentioned our themed walls before. Well, we have an Edgar Allan Poe wall. I stitched the Master and the Macabre last year, and that's up there, as well as like a little Raven Nevermore piece that I did, and then Aaron did, and I'll have to figure out how to show it on here. He did a giant painted cross-stitch Edgar Allan Poe piece. He took a giant piece of wood and painted it white and did all the math and did all the grid lines, and then he found an Edgar Allan Poe pattern of like his silhouette, and he painted the whole thing. And it's huge, and that's like the center of the wall, and then I'm gonna have other like Edgar Allan Poe or Raven type things all around it, so this will be going up there. This next one is a Not Forgotten Farm. I'm sure that you're shocked. It's called Weep Not. I stitched it on an 18 count Aida that I dyed myself, and I stitched this one again in memory of my mom. She said that she made it in memory of her sister that passed away from breast cancer, but unfortunately this reminded me of me and my two sisters. So I'm not sure where this one's gonna go yet. I'm gonna wait until I get the other pieces finished, and then I'll figure out where everything's gonna go. But this one was special. Next one is Paris, Afternoon in Paris, maybe? Country Cottage, I think. Here it is. This was my first time stitching on 40 count. I love it. I love how little those stitches are. I think it looks great. Remember, this fabric is another color in cotton fabric. Thought it looked kind of like the sky a little bit. So there's that. This is Halloween Belpool. I believe it was in a just cross stitch. The design was much bigger, but I didn't have enough fabric, so I just cut off the bottom. Here's that. Also stitched on a Monaco that I dyed. It was like a gate or something here at the bottom, but I really like it, how it looks here. First band sampler, this was a lot of the first specialty stitches that I did. Not that I necessarily remember. These are queen stitches, I do remember that. I think that was also from 2017. Now this one I know I finished last year. Yes. And this is, excuse me again, Red Winged Blackbird. I can't remember, I think it's Carriage House, I don't think it's Khaki Barrack. But here it is. This was stitched on a 32 count Ship's Man or Fabric of the Month. I used to get his Fabric of the Month every month. And I'm not sure why I stopped. His fabric is wonderful. And I did realize after I had it all done and framed that where is it? There's a missing stitch right there. But I was definitely not going to take it out of the frame and undo all of this work to add in that one stitch. I don't even have the chart anymore, so I don't even know what that color is, and I don't think anybody is going to mind. Alright guys, 2 more. And you've seen this one recently. Jane Hopkins, 1801. Love her. Nope, I'm like completely out of room here. I've got things everywhere. Another Not Forgotten Farm, Goldwick Burying Ground. I think this was a 32 count as well, another color in cotton. And he liked the fabric so much that he wanted a nice big border. He wanted to see plenty of fabric. And one more. And that is Jenny Bean's Halloween. I've got the frame for Jenny Bean's Christmas already downstairs. So I love how all of these turned out. I'm so thankful for all of the hard work that he did. I know these are kind of a pain to make, but he does a great job, and I don't know. I don't even know what to say. We didn't do any framing last year, so this is kind of a lot all at once, but it's good to have them all out of the cupboard. And then he was like, oh, well, you need to finish more things. So, so I think that's about it. I know this video's been a little bit longer than what I normally do, so thank you so much for sticking with me. At the end of my last video, I said the wrong Instagram name where you can come to visit me. I said Wide-Eyed Hippie Child, which is my old Instagram that I used to post to before I started my stitching one. You can go there too, I just don't post there anymore. But Wide-Eyed Stitching Child is where you can visit me on Instagram. And I hope all of you have a great day, and if it's hot where you are, I hope that you're maintaining in this heat. I am definitely ready to get out of this room. So bye everybody. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks.